We are back on schedule, recording at our regularly scheduled time.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here we go. Okay. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Midnight Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Easton Bennett, alongside my fellow co-host, Tyler Sinden. We are both entrepreneurs who are learning, growing, and building our own businesses. Our goal is to share our experiences and knowledge to help you grow and become a successful entrepreneur. Strap in. Before we get started, if you have any questions or things you'd like us to cover or answer, you can email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. If you'd like to join our business Discord, where we talk about wins, business problems, or general questions, shoot us a message and we will get you in there. Tyler, what is going on? Back to our regular recorded, regular planned, scheduled time.
Yes, sir. That was good intro. I was recording a couple podcasts yesterday, 4 to be exact, and I messed up every single intro, but I still went through with them.
Really?
I think on the second or third one, I'm like, man, I called it out. I was like, shit, man, I almost had it. And then I was just like, I'm still going to keep going. And then I was saying that. And then I got in the fourth one. I was on my last line. I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I got this. And then I messed up on the last line, but I still kept going. Don't care. Mistakes happen. Shows that we're not perfect, but you nailed that.
Yep. You got to go down to, once you're at episode 68, you can be like, man, I'm really hammering out these intros pretty well now.
Yeah, maybe one day you won't have any notes that you read off of it. It's just going to be a little riff.
I think usually I know what I'm saying. Like I just looked at my audio levels there while I was doing that one. But it's good to have there as like a cheat sheet. Like, what am I supposed to be saying? So I think I'll always use it as a crutch. But yeah, at this point, I probably don't even need to.
Yeah. I guess that was one thing that I was doing the other day. I feel like we've talked about this a little bit, where give up reading or give up something else to work on the business. And that's what I ended up doing last night. I think I went from maybe 6-ish until about 7:30-ish, and I recorded 4. It might have been earlier than 6, but maybe close to 2 hours. Recorded 4 episodes for my podcast for New Frame Digital and got those knocked out. I got to edit. I want to try and get, because I did one for Twitter rebranding. So I did one and I kind of want to get that edited and published for tomorrow. I usually post on Wednesdays. I could put them in there, maybe do twice a week, but then I would have to be more disciplined and make sure that I'm keeping up with the content. And right now I'm on my last episode. So I did this last minute and I got 4 in the bank now. So yeah, that's what I was doing last night. I cut into my reading time and worked on the business a little bit. And I know you sent me something from Alex and he's like, just do this.
Yeah. Was it beneficial? Do you think it was worth it?
Yeah, I think it was definitely worth it. That was something that this is another topic that we should do. I mentioned it to you, but non-negotiable. I was like, because I've had this set up, like my whole setup in my desk has just been messy. And the topic today is environment, and everything here is just kind of a mess. And my environment is just everywhere. Like I'm used to everything being pretty spotless. And I got my light, I got my camera, I got my mic out, I got my audio thing out, I got everything out, and it's just kind of a mess in my environment. So yeah, I was like, this is something that I have to do and I'm getting it done no matter what. And I was like, I don't care. And I think one of the main reasons is because I'm home alone right now and I don't really care about talking, say at 7:00. And whereas if my mom's home and she's upstairs watching TV or whatever, it's like, I'd rather not be in my marketing lab suit and just talking to the camera. So I feel a little more comfortable when I'm on my own. And that's one thing I've thought about with environment. If I were to move somewhere, I would want somewhere on my own so I could do all that shit where I don't really care about any roommates or parents, whatever it is. I'd just be like, okay, I'm filming right now and I don't have any roommates and I don't care. So that's one thing that I've thought about.
Yeah, that's very nice living on your own. Ever since I moved in on my own, I will never go back to having a roommate, obviously, unless it's a significant other. But yeah, I did the roommate thing for too long. It's like, man, it's nice. It's nice having your own space. You can film whenever you want, record whenever you want. Don't have to worry about people listening to you. But yeah, it does come with the more you do it, the easier it does get. Because there's been times where people have been here when I'm filming this podcast, just like whatever. If they want to listen to me through the door, so be it.
Right.
It's funny that we don't want people to listen in person, but then we post it online for whoever wants to listen.
Millions of people. Yeah, that's funny. So you do find that it's a little bit awkward when you are, say, recording live and you have someone else in the other room?
Yeah, it doesn't happen super often, but it is that thing in the back of your mind. It's like, they're standing right there, and they're probably not listening, but it's still that in the back of your mind. It's like, there is someone out there.
Yeah, I know I was there when you recorded a couple, and I was a roommate for a month. And I remember one of the things that you said, and it was kind of funny. I was listening a little bit, and then you're like, what was it? Your whistle? Does this wet your whistle, or this video should wet your whistle? And I started laughing.
Yeah. So yeah, there's times like that where you say things, or I think one time you chimed in from the living room. You're like, you're saying this too much, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize. So maybe it's even beneficial from time to time. But yeah, if I could go without it, I definitely would.
Yeah, I definitely do like being on my own and not having anyone listen. It's like you said, it's funny that it's different when it's live compared to when we finish it and then post it out.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I was a little bit self-conscious with, where like I'm making all this shit, and then someone in my other fantasy league, he was like sharing videos that I was making, and then I like got embarrassed for some reason that he shared it with the group, and then I'm like, you know what? I got to be more confident with this because like I'm making it, so it's like I got to start being more confident. So what they started, you weren't there. And that's why they were asking, like, where's Easton? When we had the draft for our fantasy league, they're like, where's Easton? They had our podcast playing in the background.
Oh, gotcha.
They had it on their TV. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt the same way when I was starting. I was making all the YouTube videos and everything. And there was people that, they would send it. Like I've overheard just rumors like, oh, so-and-so sent your video in a group chat or whatever. I'm like, well, whatever. And like they clown you, but now you look back and you clown them back and say, suck it. So.
I stuck with it.
Yeah, that's how you gotta do it. Because those first ones are cringy. Like to their,
you got to get them out of the way.
Exactly. Like to their side, I guess you could say. There's room to make some memes and some jokes for sure. But
right, yeah. So it's August 1st today, which means that we just wrapped up a month. Which means that July receipts are in. Had a pretty good month personally, training for a marathon. I hit almost 240 miles last month, and I actually just bought a triathlon bike or tri-bike, whatever it's called. Just bought that today. So making moves towards the next goal after the marathon, which is doing an Ironman.
What, did you have to order the bike, or did you like go physically somewhere and get it?
Marketplace. Got a sweet deal apparently.
There you go. So do you are you in ownership of the bike now?
I am. It happened so fast. It was, my cousin sent me it. He's like, you should offer $750 for this bike. And I'm like, okay. So I offered $750, and she's like, let me check with my son, see if he'll do that. She's like, yeah, he'll do that. And I'm like, all right. And then she's like, I was like, when's a good time for me to come pick it up or whatever? And she said, I'm free today if you want to come by. I'm like, okay, I got a break during here. How's that work? And she said, that's good. Went over within about 2 hours of this whole exchange and bought the bike. So now I got a bike. I got to still get a few more things. I need pedals, and I need shoes, and a helmet, and probably glasses. But yeah, training for an Ironman will start soon.
Hey, that's pretty exciting. When's your marathon again? Because I assume the training will happen right after.
No, it's actually gonna happen in 3 months, because I got a second marathon that I just signed up for as well. So I got the first marathon August 19th, and then the second one I think is mid to end of October, I believe.
Okay, so you just be a freaking running fool. I did see your receipts. Saw that you were like 0.17 miles away from 240, and that bothered me a little bit. I wish you would have just got out there last night and just ran around the block.
I should have,
but I was
didn't
like,
even look at it. Yeah. And then I also looked at it today. I think like 7 sets shy of 1,000 sets on the month. And I'm like, damn, I should have, if I got to look at it after I do everything to make sure to see exactly where I'm at. And then if I'm close to something, just go out there and do it.
Yeah, look at everything on like the last day of the month, but you got like 5-6 hours left.
Right. I'm going to have to do that.
For August, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, this month. This month for sure.
Are you going to have some bike receipts on this coming month?
Yeah. Most likely so I have days off, and what I typically do on my days off is I walk for 45 minutes with a weighted vest on. So those are quote unquote my rest days. And I'm trying to get like 45 minutes of cardio in every day. So I think what I might do is if I have all the equipment necessary for the bike, then I'll probably just substitute the walk for the bike and do like a 45-minute bike ride or something.
I like that. I'm a avid bike rider. Like I enjoy biking. I don't enjoy running, but
yeah,
biking's fun. I got a bike. It's probably not as nice as your bike, but it gets the job done. It pedals.
My cousin's right. It gets you around the city on 2 wheels and gets the job done. My cousin was like, he said that it was a really good deal for the bike. So I'm happy with it.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. While you've been buying bikes, I have been working on some pre-production for a documentary we're shooting tomorrow and Thursday, which has been kind of an eye-opener because I've never put together any pre-production documents or treatment or anything for a documentary. So I put that together, sent that over to you, got your feedback on it a little bit. And I think I enjoy doing that. I'm starting to enjoy it a lot more. I don't want to compare if I like it more than this thing or that thing, but I really enjoy doing that. And I think I'm starting to enjoy the pre-production process and the planning process and just the overall managing of productions a lot more. So that got me thinking today that editing, man, it's like, I think if I could get in this flow of things because right now I have booked pretty much every single day I'm shooting except for like 2 for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And in my head, I'm thinking, when am I going to have time to edit stuff? Where if I could get in a flow, this goes back to having an editor, but if I could get in a flow where I'm doing my day-to-day basis of 7-8 hours of planning and pre-production and getting new jobs and the overarching managing of projects, that would be awesome to have that. And then I get to shoot them because I still enjoy shooting them. And then just having an editor work on all that while I'm working on the day-to-day. So I'm starting to realize it more and more by the day that I'm just going to start pushing an editor for every single project. I think I want to get an editor and just say, hey, here's what I'm going to pay you for the project. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pay you once I get paid. Because that's the biggest thing is I hate having to hire an editor. And I do this with all my jobs where I hire a crew. And let's say the crew costs, $2,000. And then I'm unsure when I'm going to even get the money for the job, So it's like, okay, if the job's $5,000, I pay my crew $2,000. Now I'm waiting to get the other money, but I still have to front that money for the crew. So if I can line up some sort of relationship where I just say, hey, this job's $500. I'll give you half of it up front. And then once we get paid on the back end, I'll give you the other half. That's more so what I'm leaning towards. And then once I build up enough of a runway to hire an editor on full time, I can transition out of that.
Do you think you are liking that stuff just because it's something new?
I think I like the visual aspect of it. So I don't know if you realize this when I sent you it, but like it had a cohesive, like blacks, browns, yellows, like those muted Western old timey tones. And I really like visually seeing those things and putting those things together because I've always had like a certain interest in graphic design. So putting that stuff together, I was really enjoying it. It could be just because it's new, but I do think I have a hint of liking that kind of stuff. I'll have to explore it a little bit more, but I like coming up with that story and sending it over. It feels super professional. I think when you send a client over, I think I sent over like 6 or 7 documents just today for a 2-day shoot. And the main reason for that was if you're charging a high ticket price tag and I'm charging for all this pre-production, it's hard to just show up and shoot things. So I'm still doing that in the beginning. I'm not editing this project, so I still had to figure out a way to charge what I would even if I did edit it. So that's where I sent over, 5, 6, 7 documents with a shot list, the story structure treatment, the regular treatment. I had the question lists all typed out, the master shot list, locations, the call sheet, everything I sent over, and it looked super professional, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say this, and we've talked about it a lot with you hiring an editor. And the last month for Arte, they have a specific topic on the month, and last month was delegation. So I think you would have benefited quite a bit from that, where it's just delegating out tasks that you don't enjoy doing or you aren't good at doing, and giving it to someone else because that someone else might or probably enjoys doing it. And then it frees up your time to be able to do that higher leverage stuff, to be able to grow and build the business. So
yeah, that's what I'm starting to realize. Like, I want to get through the rest of the course that I'm in right now to get rid of those payments before I make any big decisions on hiring someone full time. I think that's the main reason I've been putting that off, is it's an extra $2,000 a month just for this course that I've been in. So once I have that cleared here at the end of the year, I think that's when I can start really making some strides towards getting a full-time person.
I'm not sure how the video guy that I work with for weddings does it, but for say me, he only pays me per project as opposed to like an hourly or salary wage. So I don't know if you'd be able to do that, where it's just, but you were talking about that with the crew that you end up hiring and just having to pay them up front. So whereas you have to wait, it's just that probably just comes down to a cash flow thing and making sure that you have the money in the bank and that you're able to front any of the money if there's ever that needed.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's definitely going to start like that, where the editor pays per project. I think once you're doing more and more projects, it becomes more cost effective to have them on full time. Plus they work on client projects and all the internal stuff I want to do, because it's hard to budget for an editor to edit YouTube videos and social content if you're not directly getting that money from a client, if that makes sense. But when you have someone on full time, you can say, all right, here's what you're doing today. And you're still getting your regular salary or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Well, I guess the last things for me is I got the 2 meetings scheduled. I think they're scheduled. One's for tomorrow and the other one's for Thursday. One's for the Google ads, which is tomorrow. So hopefully that goes well. I think I'm going to be meeting with both my buddy and his mom, as opposed to just his mom. It was going a little bit slow, but we got there. I texted her today, and then he ended up creating a group chat a couple hours later to get it going and get something in the books. And then the other guy, I don't know if he just doesn't like texting, but he called me. I think he called me Friday. And I was just thinking about texting you to try and meet up next week. And then he's like, oh, yeah. Just send me some times that work for you. And then I texted him literally like right after. Didn't hear from him. So I told you this morning, I'm like, make sure I send that text out by 10 o'clock my time. You did that for me. I appreciate that. And I got those texts sent out, and he just texted me back and he's like, how's Thursday? So I think we got both of those in the books, and hopefully we'll see how those goes.
Yeah, I'm excited for next week's episode, because by the time we film next week's, you should have those meetings done. We can update on those. I think you said 9 o'clock your time, and I texted you at 9 o'clock my time. I was like, shit, I'm an hour late, but I'm still going to remind him. So
yeah, I was on my run, so it was all good.
Perfect. Yeah, see, that's where, dude, the money's in the follow-ups, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because imagine you just would have been like, they don't want to meet. But you just keep nagging on them. It doesn't feel like nagging, and then you're boom.
Well, they did want to meet. This was different, because if I go back to the other guy that hasn't responded to any of my text, I know he doesn't want to meet. Whereas these guys, they've been actively responding and actively texting me. So I actually know that they do want to have this meeting and progress what our situation. Yeah,
fingers crossed they want to work on something of some sort so you can use those beats. I think I'm gonna. If not, I'll see what projects I can get you working on too. I don't know if you want to do any video editing, but maybe I can throw some stuff over to you. Because a couple people that I've used that are local, I'm not like overly ecstatic about their stuff. So yeah, I'll maybe throw some stuff over to you. Wet your whistle.
I'd love my whistle to be wetted.
Last thing I got on my list is I had a meeting yesterday with Matt, Bismarck production company that I've been collaborating with here over the last year or so. And he came on this meeting as a producer, which went super well. He wants to do more of the selling and more of the management side. And he came on, helped me with that meeting, pretty much took a hold of the meeting. And I think it went super well. I mean, he pretty much just said that he comes on as producer. We work together. He explained the situation. I think the meeting went really well. Going into a meeting with two people, I think helps more than just handling the meeting on your own. So happy to see how that goes. I think we sold a job for sure. And we might have sold it. It would have been around the same budget I would have, but I don't know if I would have closed it. But no, Matt did an awesome job. I think we're going to get the project for sure. And then maybe some future projects with the same client down the road.
You learning anything from him in terms of sales? Like, are you listening to any of his pitches or any of those conversations? Or is it just he handles everything and then he's like, boom, let's do it?
I mean, I was listening for sure during the meeting, just to hear how he talks, so I could take it into the ones he's not on. And really, he's just pretty conversational, laying out like, hey, here's what the possibilities are. And then saying, pretty much leaving it to the client to make whatever choice they want to make. And that's something I've started to do more after taking the VBA, is coming up with different packages, showing what's possible, and then tackling it from that perspective. So he obviously figured it out earlier than I did, and I'm kind of now on that same trajectory of figuring it out. But he pretty much just talks about things he's done, uses examples from previous clients, which I don't do a ton of, which I could probably start doing more of. Just kind of as social proof, you say, I shot this with this client, and you name drop a little bit, and we use testimonials for their this, that, the other thing. And then it gives a little bit more social proof when you are selling them. But yeah, I'm picking up a few things from him.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Always be learning.
Yeah. And if he can close this deal, I mean, any jobs I can just say, hey, here, take this, and he close it for a higher dollar amount, I'll give him a cut for sure. It seems like a bomb ass deal to me.
Outsource, delegate everything.
Exactly.
You can just work on the business.
I just do this podcast. We move it to 2 episodes a week.
Sounds good. What about your other podcasts?
Those are, the editing can definitely get delegated. The other thing is I'm working on a podcast that we actually shot with him, and that's turning out well. It's a lot more intricate. Like for this one and the other podcasts I do internally, I use the AI, and then it cuts it pretty close to what I needed at. So I don't have to do much tweaking. Whereas this one, there's a lot of cuts in between the episode where as directors and producers, we're pausing them to go back and re-ask a question, and it's less free flowing.
Oh, really?
So I help AI cut the angles, and then I watch through it and make edits as I do it. So it does save me a little bit of time, but that one needs a little bit more polishing.
Why do you guys do that?
Just because if the host forgets to ask a question, there's specific questions they want to touch on. So we kind of just listen from the audience. Or if they screw something up, like a lot of times, if I screw up an intro and outro, I'll redo it. Or I'll let it be, and play along with it like we were talking about earlier, but they'll redo one until they get it right, or until it sounds just right. So, it's about 90% free flowing, but there's 10% where it's like, okay, let's throw this in there. How about you talk about this? You guys didn't talk about this, which helps because I don't know how much research is being done from the host. He's kind of just there to be the face of the community. And he obviously looks at the questions, everything before, but the production company is handling most of the pre-production and scripting and writing and all of that. So interesting dynamic though. It's all right. Tyler, anything else? Otherwise, we'll move this week's news story.
Let's move right in.
Cool. So Canadian companies planning to not return to a 5-day work week after they did a 4-day work week trial. You're from Canada. How do you feel about this, Tyler?
That's something I like to hear. I believe that technology's helped us advance so much in the way we're able to produce and how fast we're able to get stuff done. Because if you think about it, way back in the day, everyone was probably doing everything on pen and paper, and then it slowly evolved into a computer that would take like 5 minutes to load, and then it's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and now it's pretty much instantly, and now you're able to do all this shit, and now there's AI out there to automate a whole lot of shit. So it seems like technology's advanced us so much to be able to do more, and then businesses just try to stretch everyone thin. It's like what we do now compared to say what we did 10 years ago, even compared to 20 years ago, is probably insurmountable. Like someone probably never would have expected, say in my specific position, to be able to handle and manage everything that I'm currently doing, say 10 or 20 years ago. So I just think technology's advanced us so much. So I do like that they are giving people the extra break, because I've heard a lot about stuff where you need breaks, creativity blocks. And I'm not sure if you ever do that, where I think those breaks are really good to refresh your mind, start to think new things or generate new ideas. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I for sure take creativity breaks. Usually I try to do all my creative work in the morning, and then I need a break somewhere where I'll either load up my van or charge some batteries or do stuff where I got to be moving around, not thinking a ton, because my brain does just get fried after trying to do creative work so much. So I try to do that in the morning, but I didn't even think about the aspect of the technology thing. You know, back then, without emails, how did you communicate and send it? Do you have to walk over to someone's office, hand them a piece of paper? Oh gosh. How did they, like, there was no scheduling. You just probably everyone had a personal calendar to write your meetings on. That's wild.
Yeah. Shoe Dog, have you ever read that book?
The Phil Knight one?
Yeah.
I have not. I want to though.
It's a good book. I would recommend it. It's really interesting to hear his story, because a lot of his stuff that he would talk about and when he was building Nike, I think it was in the 70s or 80s. So they don't have the technology really yet. So he was in, I want to say Oregon, and then he had another business partner, I think in Boston, and they would have to mail stuff back and forth, and that would take weeks or months. So that the time to be able to do that. And then also his supplier, his distributor, was out in, I want to say Japan or Thailand, somewhere out there. So he would have to take plane rides to go out there to communicate with them. There wasn't the ability to FaceTime or video chat and Instagram, like all this stuff that progresses everything to be able to go instantly. Like with us, when we started Nuebo, we were able to connect with some Chinese distributors or suppliers instantly through Alibaba, where he had to physically go there to be able to communicate with them. So yeah, technology's come a long way, man.
That's why I think I see on Twitter, I think it's so like, this is the time when you want to start a business. It's so much easier. Yeah. And no kidding. But I see these things online, whether it's X or TikTok, and people are commenting that it's harder than ever to be successful because it's so saturated. Everyone's doing it. I'm like, it is so much easier than in the 1970s, dude. Like just thinking about the things they had to do, like that example right there, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah. Right.
At that point, I'd want a 9 to 5.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. And I think the reason why it's at the same time why it is so easy is because people are lazy and they just say, oh, it's saturated, I can't make anything. And they just have this limiting mind where they don't believe that they can do it, and they just never pursue it, and they just never take that chance.
Bunch of mental midgets. That's what I say.
Is that what you say?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Mental midgets, like you're just not mentally strong enough to get over the fact that you can do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
you can do it.
Yeah, Nike. You can just do it.
Yeah. It's really, I don't know how we really got there. We kind of got off topic, but I think it's cool that they are doing this. They did see productivity shifts within their work. They also eliminated inefficiencies, because all of a sudden now you have to be able to get your work done in 4 days. So you're eliminating a lot of the unproductive stuff, stupid ass dog, unproductive stuff that's going on in your day, to be able to get to the point where you're able to get all your work done in 4 days. And the company that I currently work for, they do like summer hours, but you have to work more hours during Monday through Thursday, and then you get like a half day on Friday.
Okay.
So,
that's not bad. It's not quite as progressive as Canada, it doesn't sound like. But yeah, I'm a fan of having flexibility, because I always thought, if I'm going to get an office one day, what will that look like? Am I going to go into the office? I've been working at home now for 5 years. Am I going to go into the office? I'd like to think so. Are my employees going to want to go in there? What are the breaks going to be like? So those are things I have thought about, whereas I don't know what I would do. But as long as the work gets done, the productivity's high, if the money's and the cash flow's coming in, then there shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, that's what I think at the same time too. If I can get all my stuff done in say half the time, but then that's the issue. Companies just try to run you thin where it's like, "Oh, I see you're able to do all this work now in 30 hours. You're supposed to work 40 hours, so I'm going to give you 10 hours more of work." Or you
Yeah.
get everything done in 20 hours. So that's what you find a lot of the times with people when they work a job, they'll stretch out how long it takes them to do certain tasks to get it done because
Yeah.
they're like, if I get this done any faster, I'm just going to get thrown on more work. So it's like, okay, I'm going to slowly do this. They think it takes 3 hours when I can actually get it done in half an hour. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stretch it out to that 3. So yeah, it's really interesting, that kind of mindset as well.
That's where I'm excited when I hire an editor. I know how long it takes to edit things. There's some discrepancies in speed, of course, and you got to have
Right.
those leeways. But if one YouTube video takes you 16 hours and be like, what the hell is going on here?
It's like, this better be a masterpiece.
Yeah, this better be a freaking Christopher Nolan film. And then it comes back and it's just cut up with music and then some B-roll over top. I'm like, dude, could have done this in half a day.
Hire your homie from India to do it.
Might have to. He's a freaking baller though, man. He
Is
gets
he?
shit. He gets shit done. You send it, he gets it done. He's no qualms about anything. Like I apologized this month because all of our shoot dates for our clients were a little bit later in the month, and so the turnaround time to get them done on the first of the month was quick. And I said, hey, I apologize. Like future things, I said this one's on me. Don't take the blame for not getting this done before the first of the month. And then he texts back. He's like, this one is on us, brother. And I was like, not really, but I mean, if you're being a G, yeah, I'm like, if you're being a G, then awesome. So yeah, he's super awesome about everything. Can't complain about what he's doing at all.
Is he doing good?
Yeah, I mean, he does what he needs to, and then I just
Perfect.
pay him his money. His Indian
There you go.
is rupees.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
Glad he's doing good.
but yeah, short work week. As long as I think it's about keeping your people happy. And that's in turn will grow the company. So as long as your employees are happy, you have some flexibility and go from there.
That's something that they mentioned in the article where they said that, what was it? Was it 32%?
Yep.
32% of the employees are less likely to leave that job now just because it has that flexibility to have, say, a 4-day work week. And I mean, who wouldn't want a 4-day work week?
Exactly.
It's like the same thing with remote work. It's like once you start working remote, you don't want to go back in the office. But a lot of people are wanting to actually go in because they're missing that face-to-face connection.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish I had a little bit more of, where it's more collaboration, where a lot of the stuff I do is on my own. So that's one thing I'm excited, whether it's a year from now or 5 years from now, if I have an office and people to work with, getting that connection back. Tyler, anything else
Turn your
on
house into an office.
I should. I'm gonna turn it into a rental property, actually.
That's everything.
Okay, cool. Let's move into this week's topic. We've kind of talked about it a little bit. How your environment influences your productivity, your success, how you work on things, why you work on things. I'm a big fan of this topic. I know you mentioned if I wanted to do it, if it sounded half-ass when I said yes before we started recording, but I do like this because we've talked about this before, how much of a factor it plays in where you're working, who you're working around. And that's really why we want to dive into it today. So we got a couple different takes on it. Working a job versus working by yourself, or, working remote. Tyler, you're kind of hybrid. You work by yourself, but you do have other people you have to communicate in a real job. But how do you feel about, your environment as a whole? Not specifically your physical environment where you're sitting, but just the situation you're in.
So you're saying with work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know, I'm really self-motivated. So, and I really want to level myself up. So it's a little bit different. But I was just thinking about the people that you're around and you work with, if they're really motivated and they do a lot and they make you want to level up. And I was just thinking about it a lot. A lot of the people in my same position, they seem like they're always stressed or they always complain. And then for me, it's just like, I don't know, I'm just kind of chilling. But at the same time, I'm rarely stressed, I feel like. And I just kind of go with the flow, and whatever gets thrown at me gets thrown at me. Nothing I can do about it. Just get shit done. So I was just thinking, like, the people that you surround yourself with, I know you touch on it later, But the people you surround yourself with, they force you to level up, because if they work really hard, that's going to rub off on you. Whereas if they don't work really hard and they're like, you don't really need to do that. We don't do that around here. That might rub off on you as well. And then you start performing worse. So luckily I'm in a fairly good and positive environment that everyone seems to work pretty strong. And that helps motivate me to work stronger as well.
Yeah, your coworkers, I think, have a huge impact on how you get your job done, how much you enjoy your job. I personally never had coworkers except working at the golf course when I was scrubbing people's clubs. So that environment's a little bit different, but working in a corporate office space, I assume, maybe you can touch on this a little bit more, Tyler, because you're in that environment, but when everyone's moving towards the same goal and everyone wants to accomplish the same things, it's a much better environment and you feel more productive and you feel more successful when you are working on these things.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I know I haven't really worked in a corporate office or a corporate environment, but I've said it before when I go out to, say, to coffee shops and I see other people working, and at the same time, I'm there supposed to be working. So it's like, I'm going to try and put my best effort out and make it look or actually work. And then it's actually making me look like I'm actually doing something, that I'm being productive. So I say, like, if I go to a coffee shop, I'm going to actually be in there, got my maybe headphones on, and I'm just focusing on my work and trying to get shit done, because I don't want people seeing me and I'm just kind of leaning back. I don't know if that picked up my audio or not, but if I'm like leaning back or if I'm on my phone and I'm supposed to be working and someone sees me and they're like, does this guy even work, or is he just got his laptop out? And they might not even think I'm working because I'm just on my phone the whole time. So I think environment's huge, and I can't really speak that big on corporate offices, but whenever I did go into the office, I do try and have my head down and getting shit done, and somewhat spreads onto the other people as well, because they see that, so they want to do it as well.
It's much different than working, with coworkers in a corporate office compared to working by yourself or working remote, where you are losing that aspect. So going to coffee shops and Barnes and Noble bookstores, different places, does allow you to change the environment you're in. Tyler, do you ever get sick of sitting in the same desk and area and space? What is your thoughts on that? How do you find that good environment to be more productive and successful?
I'm going to be honest. I sometimes move around a lot in the house. I don't always sit here, and that's why I like having a laptop as opposed to, say, a desktop or a PC. I might go and sit on the couch over there. I might go and lay down on the couch over there. I might go upstairs and on the couch. I might go upstairs in the kitchen table. I might go outside and enjoy some sun while working. So I'm really flexible with where I actually work. I know if I got a lot of shit I need to do and I actually got to sit down and grind, I will sit at my desk, because this does tend to be the most productive I am. I got 2 monitors, I got my keyboard, I got my mouse. So those small aspects help me be a little bit more productive. So if I do ever have that, but I do think that switching up your environment is really good and crucial to help out you to switch it up, because you might get, it just kind of gets in a minutia thing where you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And then I think just switching up the environment is just like a good change of pace.
I always think the same thing when I switch my environment from sitting at my computer, editing videos or pre-production or emails or whatever it is, to then you get on set and you're working with other people and you're having this experience in a different location, where it does change the vibe and your energy towards work. So even if it's not specifically something where you're going and I have to go shoot and I'm in a different location, if you can switch it up like Tyler does, where you go, maybe you're still in a corporate office, but you have a little lobby area with some cool chairs. You can take your laptop there, or go work in a conference room and get out of, maybe you're just in a cubicle. Those different environmental changes are going to lend yourself to an upper hand of getting more stuff done and feeling like you're more successful, whether you are or aren't. Because one of the things on here that when I work from home, the lighting is a big thing for me. Sometimes when I used to work in a basement before I moved into my house, and it was dark all the time. Like, you never had windows or anything down there. And that constant feeling of this is always dark always put me in like a dark mood. Whereas now I can work in my office. There's windows in there. I have a little table outside if I want to go sit out there. I never do because I don't like working on my laptop. But having these different environmental changes, whether it's inside, outside, the lighting is better. Maybe you want the lighting worse where you can go sit on your bed and have all the lights off because you need to get in the zone. All of these things do change how productive you are, at least for me and Tyler anyways.
How would you say your environment changed and your behavior towards it going from your parents' house to your current house?
Well, one, I think it's so many different places I could work. Like I have this podcast room. I could come and work in here if I want. I have another room over there that has a different table and chairs. I have the basement that I could go in. I have my office. I have my couch in the living room. Just so many different places where I feel comfortable because technically they're my spaces. Whereas if I was at my parents', it feels almost like I'm or barging in on their areas. If I'm sitting on the living room couch, it's like, okay, well, why do you like go work at your desk? So just having more room and more flexibility to do those things, I think is the biggest change that I saw when I made that transition.
Did you notice any behavioral changes, like with your mood, your mind? Getting out
of the basement was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, your mood changes. I think sunlight and being close to light helps a ton, unless you're watching Oppenheimer or something. But yeah, I saw a productivity increase. It felt like I wanted to do more because I'm in new spaces. I feel generally when I'm in a new space, it's almost like I'm switching up everything. Like I just want to do more. It's like, oh, this is cool. I'm in a new space. Let's work on this thing. Let's type up this document, whatever it is. Or if you work in the same desk, same chair, same screen for 73 days in a row and you don't change it up, you start to get into a rut where this is over and over. And now I'm in the matrix where if you can switch it up, I think you can be a little bit more productive. What about you? Do you feel more productive when you switch locations?
Yeah, I'm stuck in the matrix. Going to your question, I do think so. It depends on what I'm doing, because a lot of the times when I do like to branch away from my desk, it's because I'm able to do a task that doesn't require both monitors, where I can easily do it with just one screen. So that's what I tend to do. But I would say my productivity might go down a little bit, but at the same time, my motivation levels might go up a little bit to maybe help compensate for it, that I'm getting out in a different space. And I find that big reason that I got a standing desk is because it hurts to sit for too long. And like right now, I'm restless right now because I don't feel my ass hurts right now. But that's why I do like to switch. Yeah, that's why I like to switch up my environments, because I like going on the couch because it's a lot soft and comfier, and my posture might not be as good, but it's a lot like more comfortable for myself, and I think that helps me out a little bit. But what I've found is sometimes when I'm able to get into such a good flow state that I don't even realize it or focus on it, that I'm just so ingrained in the work that I'm currently doing that like my potential back or ass pain, it's just not even there.
Yeah,
but it is. I just don't focus on it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one reason why I like to switch a lot of times, is sometimes even though it's a nice, big, huge office chair, sometimes it gets uncomfortable, or I have a standing desk. I can stand up. I can feel a little bit better. But once you do get in that flow state, you do start to forget a little bit about that pain. One thing that I wanted to talk about was, this is more so towards the corporate office people, which I have no experience in, but you can compare it to having a boring office where everything's gray, monotone, and cubicles, regular looking office space. Or you see how Google has set up their office where they have, working pods. They have cool lobby work areas with comfortable chairs, or like rolly chairs, or those weird seats that you kind of just sink into. Those are much better for your environment to be able to go and work in those different places than it is to be in a gray, monotone, boring location. So I think that's the main point we're trying to get here, is that changing up your environment is going to lend a hand to better productivity and better success.
Yeah, I want to touch on one aspect that I really had to shift my mindset, is when I was at home before I went away for college, I was extremely lazy and I did not do anything. My life was basically revolving around, not really at the time, I kind of quit, but it was around like smoking weed and drinking alcohol. And then I eventually like quit and then went away for school. But when I was at home, I was really lazy and all I really did was watch TV, watch movies, play video games, and I didn't really do much or pursue much play like games on my phone as well. And that was my environment at home, and I was really lazy, and I think the most I really ever did was go to the gym for 45 an hour, work out, come back home, then do that same stuff, just sit on the couch, eat junk food, and that was my environment. And then when I went away for school, I really noticed a shift in my mindset and my productivity and how I took everything, because I realized that I actually have to do shit to get shit done. And what I realized when I was at home, I had the benefit that I have all this freedom to be able to just live at home and not do anything and be lazy. And then once I came back home after like being away for 4 or 5 years, I really had to shift my mindset away from, because like that was what I associated my home with, my parents' home. That's what I associated it with, is me being lazy, watching TV, watching movies, playing video games. I really had to shift that mindset to something else of, I'm actually going to take action. I'm actually going to go out and do shit. And I got to actually shift my mindset. So that was actually a really big shift that I had to do coming back home and being here right now, is because that used to be my environment and that used to be my identity. So I had to change my identity.
Do you think maybe the environment shift for some people is bigger than just moving rooms? Maybe they got to move cross country.
It worked for me. I 100% agree. I don't think I would be where I'm at or anywhere close to where I'm at if I didn't move away and go away for school. Because I learned so much going away for school, and that was basically my goal, is get as far away as possible and try and cut off any family, any connections, anything I have, so I can go out there and learn on my own. And that's exactly what happened. And then I realized a lot of stuff that I wanted to pursue and wanted to do in life. And I think it gave me a little bit of a clearer vision of what I wanted to do. And when I was at home, I didn't have any of that vision or clarity when I was living here. So I would definitely agree that college is a great opportunity to do that. Or if you just, I'm really struggling right now debating it, and I've always had the mindset of I want to live in the States, and I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll just accept the fact that I can't live in the States, and there are places in Canada that I can move to. So maybe Toronto or BC, or maybe I don't know if I would go out east.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go out to Winnipeg. It would either maybe even Calgary or Alberta. I don't think there's anything in Winnipeg. So yeah, I've been thinking about this recently, to just move to one of those cities, and then that's going to change up my environment, and it's going to give me a different mindset shift, and I'm going to have to actually get shit done, because right now I'm comfortable. And I was talking to you the other day where I don't think the pain's strong enough for me to be able to go out there and want more, where right now I'm comfortable. And that was one thing I really needed to do, was get uncomfortable.
You got to spend all your money. That was my recommendation.
That. I don't know if you listened to that podcast episode, but that's what he says. He's like, maybe you need to get more in debt. Maybe you need to get more fat. Maybe you need to spend more and get rid of all your money. And then you're going to feel that pain. Exactly. And then I was just like, shit, man, maybe. Because like, what happens if I just keep building up this money and I have like this, and then I have like this nest or whatever you want to call it, and then I have the safety net, and I'm just always comfortable. I got to get uncomfortable. I just got to go out and spend it all. Exactly. And then go in the red like a good 100,000, and maybe that'll light a fire under me.
Like, I got to figure this out. See?
Right.
See, me and Alex, we're kind of the same guy. That leads us into the last one we had. It really revolves around the people that you're around too. I think the saying is, you're the average of the 5 people you're around most, or something like that. We mentioned it earlier in the episode, but do the people you're around want the same thing as you? Are they pursuing the same thing as you? Are you all pushing towards the same goal? Or are you with people that are drinking all the time and, making bad decisions, whatever it is? what is the differentiation there, and who are you actually surrounding yourself with to get you to the goals that you want to get to?
The odds are, if you are surrounding yourself with 4 people that are doing that specific thing, you're the 5th person doing that thing as well. And I know they always say the five people you surround yourself with that's what your average. You're going to be the average of them, and that's what your financial aspect, your health aspect, your relationship aspect, and that's what everything's going to be. So I feel like it's strongly true.
Yeah. So take a look at who you're hanging out with. Maybe it's not saying, that's the thing where people are like, oh, I don't want to cut off my friends. It's not saying you have to cut off your friends, but maybe you need to find other people to be around more. Where if you want to make $1 million a year, do you even know any millionaires? Can you hang out with any millionaires?
That's what we got to do.
Yeah, exactly. I don't. I know a couple actually. I don't hang out with them a ton though, but finding those people that I want to get to this area. If you can somehow get yourself in one of those groups, then you start to become the average of them. And then you just find people that are above them. What's the next goal you want to get to? Then you become the average of them.
Yeah. That's a big reason why I'm trying to join all these masterminds with the RRT group members, because I don't know if they are millionaires or not, but they are, I would say,
100,000ers.
I would say on a similar path or a similar goal set or whatever it might be.
There you go. Just got to find those people. Tyler, anything else about your environment? Environment. That's how I say it when I spell it.
Yeah, it's a tough word to spell out, but yeah, I think environment is extremely crucial, and I'm trying to maybe get out into a new environment soon. Maybe we'll see.
2024.
2024 is going to be a huge year.
It is. Can't wait. I'm going to have an editor. You're going to be in Pakistan. I don't know where you're going to be, but
none of it.
Yeah. That'll be
living
fun.
with the Eskimos.
Yeah. Hey, did you know that's a derogatory term? That's what I learned.
Yeah. Well, everyone's offended nowadays.
That's true. All right. This week's business idea, gas pass. I actually thought of this yesterday. I was filling up for gas and I kept thinking to myself, how annoying of a problem is it that I have to get out of my truck, open the thing, hit the buttons, do all of that and put it in. And then I have to go inside, take my wallet out of my pocket, give them my card. That seems like think about how many times you do that in your life. And I know in Canada, I'm sure they have this other place too, but this is the first place I saw it when I was playing hockey in Canada. They have people that work at the gas stations that like just pump it for you. Mm-hmm. But imagine a service where you could pull up, and maybe it's, like a monthly subscription or some sort of something, maybe you pay $15 a month and you pull up and you don't have to deal with a cashier. Like you have some sort of tag, maybe it's an ID thing on your vehicle or you have a number on your vehicle where they just know like, okay, that's so-and-so, that's Easton Bennett filling up with gas. We'll just charge his card. And then you just have a card on file where you can get that done. The only hiccup I'm running into in this scenario is I still have to get out of the vehicle and put the gas thing in there. So if there was some sort of something where I could pull up and then it automatically just started filling my truck up, that'd be awesome. If I could pull up, boom, it's filled, drive away, that would save me so much time.
It seems like you're coming up with a subscription-based gas station.
Yes.
I'm not opposed to it. I think there's some good ideas here that could potentially work. And I think the fact that it's a subscription-based place, you're able to pay workers to fill it up for you. And I don't know if it would be, say, your license plate, or say there's something that there's like it like scans above, and then you just put it in the front of your car or something like that. And then just every time you go there, and it just automatically takes the money from you, and you don't even need to talk to anyone. And it's just someone, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom, fills it up for you.
Or so, even something, if they do have a worker that's doing that, when you open your little gas tank thing, maybe you just have like a little sticker thing that's in there. It has your 4-digit number,
there you go,
6215. The worker types it in, up it pops. It's got all of your information, what kind of gas that you get in your vehicle. It's like, okay, he gets 87 unleaded, whatever it is. They put it in, fill it up for you. And then you drive away and they just charge it on their card.
There you go. I like this idea. This is actually pretty solid. Maybe we should start this.
Right. The only thing that's the hiccup is I think you won't be able to, Is it a store that you go in and get chips and a drink? Because I assume a lot of revenue comes from that kind of stuff. But if this is just like a quick thing where I fill up with gas all the time, I don't always need to go in for drinks and snacks and whatever. If this can be strictly my gas station.
Got an idea. There's an app and you can pre-order when you're going there, and then it just gets automatically charged to your account.
Oh, and then they just open your back door. They open your door and give it to you.
Yeah, you roll your window down. They come out with everything that you ordered.
It's like the Sonic of gas stations.
We're onto something here.
This is the best one I've ever thought of.
They come out with rollerblades. It definitely is.
Nice.
They come out with rollerblades. I like this. This is a good idea.
This is something, maybe when I'm about 40 years old, I could do this. Get the video world rocking and then hop into automatic gas stations.
Do you think you would give, say, a discount on gas for people that are members?
Well, that's
just maybe like a 5 cent per gallon or liter.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Do you do a discount on gas to get people in, right? So it's like that.
Yeah.
Or are you going to have so many people that want this service so much where it's like, we can't even have all of these people here, So is it something where it's like our membership fee, you got to pay $30 a month, or maybe it's $50 a month, or maybe it's whatever. But at a certain point, you get to a monthly subscription where it's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. I'm not paying $100 a month to just go spend more money. You know what I mean? So there's a fine line between.
Maybe you get like an incentive of, if you choose this package, every time you fill up, you get a free bag of chips and water and
that's smart.
Red Bull.
You get you got to pay $15 a month to use our services or whatever it is. And that package comes with a drink and a bag of chips every time you're there. Or you pay $30 a month. You get a drink and a bag of chips and a sandwich.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now we're talking. See, I like this idea. I'm going to put a star by this one. There we go.
Save this for the future.
Yeah. It only took us 49 episodes to hit something with some traction here. Tyler,
I like that one.
Anything else on Gas Pass? I even like the name, kind of. I came up with that last minute.
I was trying to think of what this is going to be, and it did not. It was not what I expected it to be. So I don't know. I like this one.
I'm glad I could surprise you.
We came up with some good ideas for it.
This one's good. I think we could sell this one, maybe.
I think so.
We got to bleep out this whole entire idea on the podcast. Right. Awesome. All right, Tyler, anything else?
No, that's everything.
Cool. That's episode 49 of The Midnight Entrepreneur. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. If you found value in this content or found this entertaining, share this with a friend or post it on your story. If you really enjoyed the show, we'd love a rating and a review wherever you are listening. Talk to you guys next week for another episode of The Midnight Entrepreneur.
You are a product of your environment, so choose the environment that will best develop you toward your objective. Analyze your life in terms of its environment. Are the things around you helping you towards success, or are they holding you back? W. Clement Stone.